All right, last video of the quiz retake, 18 and 19, two very similar questions, very similar to number 17, which is video 3. So we're going to find the slope of the line, write the equation of line in point slope form, and then convert that to slope-intercept form and graph. There are lots of directions there. Make sure you read them so you know what you're doing. Remember that I always say the words are not decoration. So I have two ordered pairs, -6, 5, and 3, 1. When I'm calculating the slope, which I have the slope formula on the board for your quiz, you need to identify first the x and y values of each ordered pair. We always do that. Now, do not do stack and subtract, right? I know a couple of you do. Don't do it. If you don't know what it is, don't worry, but don't do stack and subtract. You'll get the problem wrong. We're going to use the slope formula. So I identified my favorite point. I'm going to choose 3, -1. And I put a box or circle or whatever around it. That 3 and -1 are going to go in the first x and y in your fraction. Okay, so it's going to go inside the box there. So if I have my fraction here, I'm always going to keep these minus signs here. These guys are still minuses. Let's fill in the box, or let's fill in our y's. So I'm going to start with the y. Here's my box. I'm going to do this again for you, because some of us need this. I do my first y, which is -1. Then there's a minus sign. Minus, well, this other y here comes from the y in the other ordered pair. I use that guy to cross them off. So I put a -5. Now my y's are gone. I cannot use those numbers again. On the bottom of my fraction, I have my x from my box, so I'm going to put 3 there. Cross it off. The minus symbol stays the same, and I'm going to do this number from my x. Yes, I have 2 minus signs. It's okay. I've used every number. Now I'm going to simplify. Use Desmos to help you. -1 -5. Okay, so here I have -1 -5 means the top of my fraction, the numerator, is -6. Write it right here, squeeze it in, -6. Then I have 3 minus -6. So fix that algebra. 3 minus -6 is 9. So 9 goes on the bottom. Now, you are allowed to leave it. I'm okay with this. Leave the slope as -6/9. If you want to simplify, you can. If you notice that 3 goes into both, and this simplifies to -2/3, be my guest and simplify. If you don't see it, that's okay. Leave the -6/9. I'm not worried about it. I want to know that you can calculate the slope. All right, point slope form. We did this in number 17. You need to know that point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Remember, we are only changing 3 things from this formula: the x and y and the slope. I'm going to use a different color here. I usually use green. I'm going to use the same point that I had boxed in up above. You could use the other point if you want, and you'll get the same answer. But I'm going to use this point up here in the box, just to be consistent. All right, so my point slope form, I'm going to write the letter y. Then the minus y1 is the opposite of the y value from my ordered pair. Remember, this is an x and a y. So I have a +1. Equals the slope I just calculated. I'm going to use this because most people did not simplify this on their quiz, which is fine. So I'm going to put -6/9 here. Then I'll put my parentheses x. I do the opposite of my x value here, which would be -3. That's point slope form. If you can get that far, you understand point slope form. Now, in order to graph it, it's over on the right here, but it was a little bit down below on your quiz. We need to get this equation in y equals form, which is y equals mx plus b. I think the directions even say convert this to slope-intercept form. That means solve for y. So take this equation you just found over here. Get this letter y by itself. So let's see, I'm going to distribute this. So I'll keep y plus 1. Distribute the -6/9. So that goes next to the x. And I'm going to take -6/9 times -3. I'm going to use my calculator. times negative 3. And the calculator tells me that it equals 2. So this is plus, because negative times a negative, 2. And then all I have to do is subtract the 1 right here. And I will get, I'm going to write it up here on this line. Y equals negative 6 over 9x. 2 minus 1 is 1. And then I'm going to graph. So my y-intercept, the number where I start, is 1. That's right here on the y-axis. My slope is negative 6 over 9. So I go down 6, right 9. Right here. Then I go the other way. Up 6 over 9. And you will use, I'm going to use a ruler here to be precise, a ruler to connect those points. Now it says, the checking is not part of the grade, but I want you to check your work if you can. Does negative 6, 5 appear to be on your graph? It does. You can use Desmos for this too, guys. 3, negative 1 is right here. That's also on my graph. So I know I did it right. All right, one more problem. All right, last problem. Same thing as number 18. So I'm going to label my x and y for the slope formula. And I'm going to choose my favorite point. I'm going to use 4, 7 again. Choose your favorite. So when it goes into the slope formula, remember, here's the slope formula again. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And your box numbers are going to go right here. There's your box. So when I write this out, I'm going to have my minus signs that were in the slope formula right here. I'm going to put those in the middle. I'm going to have my box that goes here. I'm going to fill in my numbers. So the first box is a y from the ordered pair. So it's this guy. So I'm going to write the 7. Minus, I'm going to cross that guy off, the other y value, which is negative 5. Yes, I have 2 minus signs. It's okay. Underneath in that box goes the 4 from the box that I started with, this x2. So I put the 4 minus the other x value. And I'm going to simplify. 7 minus negative 5. If you don't know what that does with the adding or subtracting, use your calculator. You get 12. So I get 12 over 4 minus 1 is 3. Now this one I do want you to simplify. 12 over 3 is 4. That's your slope. Okay, now for point slope form. Remember, point slope form is this. And we are going to replace the x and the y and the slope. I know I've said this every problem, but I want to drill it home for you. So let's start. We write the letter y. I take the opposite of my y. I'm going to use the same ordered pair that I boxed up here. 4, 7. Okay? That's x and y. Oh, and pen. Here we go. X and y. So I take the opposite of the y value up there. So the opposite of 7 is negative 7 equals, m is my slope. We calculated my slope to be 4. Parentheses, x, opposite of 4. That's the point slope form. You can use Desmos right now to check to see if you're right by typing in that equation and plotting the points. In order to get y by itself, remember I'm solving for this y, to graph it, I need to distribute the 4. That y minus 7 stays the same. 4 times x, 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. Then I'm going to add 7. I'm going to get y equals 4x. Let's see, what's negative 16 plus 7? Negative 9. So that's your equation. The y equals. That goes on the line right here. And now you're going to graph it. You should know that the y-intercept, the number by itself, is negative 9, so that's way down here. 4x means the slope is 4 over 1. So we go up 4, right 1. You're going to do that until you run out of room. And you'll grab your ruler and connect those dots. Now again, check your work. Is the point 1, -5 on the graph? Yes, it is. 4, 7 is also on your graph. You can use Desmos as well. Okay, here's what you're going to do. You are going to go onto your practice packet number 2 again and do all the evens starting at number 18. All right? So it's number 18 through 38, all those evens. Ask your teacher to check your work, and then you'll be ready to retake your quiz.